Hey there. Welcome to The Climb, brought to you by the Digital Mastermind. I'm John Sarakis, and today is Free Talk Friday. The show, though, is about journeys. This is the podcast where we talk digital agency business, we talk marketing, technology. Today, we're even going to mix in a little bit of politics. We're gonna walk that fine line. But if you want tips, tricks, tools, mentorship, you even want to be a mentor, you want to help out others, then I encourage you to join our tribe of digital agency owners. We stay in constant communication via Slack, questions, concerns. You want to, potentially brag about a great success, get feedback on something. This is the group of people that help you do that. We have bi-weekly calls to stay on top of the latest and greatest, some of the latest and greatest things we're even going to talk about today. And of course, we have that gnarly meeting that I've talked about time after time, which in the next few weeks, we're going to have a lot more information on. So if you want to grow your agency, keep your agency healthy, talk about culture, go ahead and contact me. Shoot me an email, john@digitalmastermind.com, and we'll talk about getting you into our tribe. So, Dave, why don't you come out here? We got a big show going on today.
Yeah, I'm excited. I actually even, had a meeting yesterday that was basically like another DMG, and that I can't wait to talk about. So yeah, excited for Free Talk Friday here.
Boom, boom, boom. All right. So I think, but before we get to the politics, there was a big, speaking of one of our technology tenants, a big fail that happened this week. And I want to talk about Quibi.
Quibi, yeah. So what an epic disaster that is. $1.75 billion in 6 months.
6 months.
6 months. And, it's all marketing and they tried to invent a market that wasn't there.
That's exactly what it is. No need. Absolutely no need. Nobody needs short form content that, on their phone. There's so many other places to pull that from.
All right. And when you see something, I remember when I saw the first advertisement, I think Chance the Rapper was in a commercial and trying to get like a reservation at a restaurant or something. And he said, "Oh, that'll be a Quibi." And I was like, what the hell is that? And then why is Chance the Rapper a spokesperson for it? And so I'm imagining all they did is just dump loads of money onto, actors and musicians to try to make it something. I just, the CEO, Meg Whitman, this is her next disaster. She got her fame from eBay, which she did a good job there. But then went on to HP and Hewlett Packard had to be broken up and sold off into pieces because of her disaster management. Now she's destroys $1.75 billion. It's crazy.
Well, her and Katzenberg, they didn't get along apparently. So there was like tons of infighting. And I don't even know who Chance the Rapper is, but it sounds like in that ad, you go straight to trying to become a generic term. Like, right. Oh, Google that. Those things organically have to happen. When you try to force those, it creates that awkwardness. And apparently, I didn't know. I've spoke with some other people in the office and some others. The shows just sucked. So all the original content they created was just garbage. So there's no foundation to grow on at that point.
I just, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
And somebody in 5 years is going to give them more money to ruin it somehow. That's what startup world works. It's crazy.
It's just crazy. Charging $5 to $8. Like what is Netflix? $9 to $10, and you have such a subpar product. Like you can't even grow into that. So when you just look at so many things wrong, no need. The competition's there. The price is way too high
forever. How do you take on YouTube and try to charge for it?
Right, exactly. Or they have all these other free products, right? So you got TikTok, that's stealing people's attention and they're getting entertained. You have Instagram, just wrong on all counts. And I think that there must have been like a sycophant culture to be like, oh yeah, man, you created Shrek, Katzenberg, you're a genius.
So TikTok is a great example of the anti-Quibi. Is that there was no advertising, there was zero marketing for TikTok. It was just a good product, I guess. I still have not used it. I'm not a TikToker.
It's never too late, Dave.
I'm pretty much social media tapped out. Like you can keep inventing new social platforms, and I'm not joining them. Like
I'm barely on the ones I'm supposed to be on. Yeah,
right.
But that anything I'm going to commercial didn't get you.
Which one?
The one with Mick Fleetwood. where they're skateboarding with the ocean spray. It was all the rage where they're talking about how that got more advertising than any agency can. You haven't heard about this whole thing?
No, not at all.
So the whole scream is that one guy, I think his name's like Dogface or something like that.
Okay.
And he right on, Aaron. See, I know people love it. I don't hate on it. It's just one more thing for me to manage, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, this guy comes out with this ad. It's like him doing something with ocean spray. I'm probably butchering some of this, but anyway, so they've taken this and now they've plastered this on television with people driving around to a Fleetwood Mac song, drinking ocean spray, right?
Okay.
So there's all these articles and everybody's saying like, oh, ad agencies can't figure this out. Ad agencies don't know what they're doing and they don't understand TikTok. It's like, dude, this is an outlier. One guy has a viral ad and now everybody's a moron. It's just another sign to just everybody being so reactionary with an opinion, and then everybody that's done something for 50, 100 years is now a moron and things have changed.
Right. Yeah.
So I saw that. Obviously, I was a little bit, touched by it, whether good or bad.
Right.
So, all right. You ready to talk about some politics?
Let's do it.
All right. So I would assume if I got this email, you got this email, then most of our listeners have, right? So there was an email sent out by the CEO of Expensify, and he told all of his customers to vote for Biden. And this isn't swaying. I'm not saying, who to vote for or whatnot, but his reasoning was that if Trump wins, it would essentially destroy our democracy as we know it, and then there would potentially be a civil war, which would be bad for business. That's his rationale, as I understand it. There's multiple quotes here from multiple sources. I think this is a poor decision, not only because of what it's going, just one off. You can't talk about religion. You can't enforce a religion on your employees and your customer base. Maybe you can, but you shouldn't. I think the other side of it is that he's alienating 50% of his customer base, which is selfish, right? Because there's people that are counting on him to help keep the jobs that are there, and it's just also demonizing whatever work that they've created now just because he opens his mouth.
So this guy that sent this email, I've never heard of him before. I'd never even heard of the company. I didn't get the email. I read about this story online. But a lot of the comments, he put his Twitter handle at the end of the email, and so a lot of people are commenting, and I went and read that. And a very popular comment that people are saying is 1/3 of your customers are Democrats, 1/3 of your customers are Republicans, 1/3 of your customers just don't care about politics. Mm-hmm. And that goes along with our viewer Jennifer's comment. And right there, you pissed off 2/3 of your customers because there's people that just don't want their politics. I mean, the NFL is getting a backlash right now. The NBA ratings tanked because not one way or the other, not one support one side or the other. It's just people don't want politics mixed with other things. And I think this was and I'm not even, we mentioned that we're going to talk politics. I don't really want to talk about actual politics. I want to talk about
that's the teaser.
The idea of politics and business is just dumb.
I agree. It's the alienation. If you want to bring people together, have a collective, there are some things that just shouldn't be discussed. Everybody has their own things, but for the most part, it's religion and politics. Might make an engaging dinner conversation, but as I said, you're going to have employees that are all over the place. And if you think you're being a strong leader, then you should join some type of foundation, something that is completely pure. What I think is fantastic, though, is a quote that came out from the CEO of Coinbase this year, which he said, he's like, all right, stop. We're not doing all the activism because there's been a ton of activism based on Google going to rallies, even the CEO, some even at Microsoft taking specific stances. And what he said is, all right, stopping all that. We focus minimally on causes not directly. We are no longer going to focus on causes not directly related to our mission. The mission is if it doesn't affect virtual currency, then or cryptocurrency, they're not going to touch it.
Smart.
And that's essentially going to be like, yeah, exactly. This is our mission. We exist for this purpose. And
Right.
I completely agree with that. All your personal stuff, you can do that. Do whatever it is that you want.
Yep.
But the company as a whole, the collection of the people that are supposed to get something done, they all need to align with a specific mission. And the only way that you can do that is by not alienating.
Yep. And this is a great comment by Jennifer. I feel we keep moving towards breaking this barrier of mixing business with personal beliefs. I avoid it. I do as
Absolutely.
well.
Well said.
Yeah, 100%. I worked for a company where the CEO and I'm sure other people have experienced this, but this was what Bush versus was that Gore? No, what was it? Bush. Who's the second Bush? Oh, Kerry.
Yeah.
And the CEO sent out a email to all the employees advocating of why he's voting for Bush. And at the time, I was supporting the Democrat, or was I at that time? No, I think I didn't vote on that one. But either way, I was offended. I was just so pissed off that my CEO is trying to tell me how to vote.
Yeah.
And I from that moment on, I was like, I'm never doing that. Or I would never think about doing that in my company because I would be so pissed off because it did happen to me, and I was so mad.
Yeah, and it's like religion. Like you go somewhere and it's like, oh, this is, you can't work here because you're Catholic and we only allow Protestants. It's like, what? I mean, what is this? 100 years ago?
Right. Yeah.
So that's something that I don't agree with. I mean, and the guy's got a successful company. I mean, they do over 100 million. Supposedly they're profitable. It's a privately run company. And I maybe this is just one of those slip ups. What I think this is once you get into your little bubble and you think, yeah, you're right. You surround yourself with a bunch of sycophants that are like, oh yeah, do that. Yeah, that's a great idea. And they're like, ooh.
Yeah. Well, so a couple things that, as I looked into this story, is he sent this worldwide to all their customers, not just US.
43,000 something customers, right?
And so I guess in Europe there's a law that he basically broke the law in Europe by doing this, and so they're already moving towards suing him for abuse of privacy or something like that. It's like in Europe it's a lot more strict when using data. So he basically stole the customer data to share his personal political beliefs. But either way, it reminds me of last election cycle. Do you remember that company that it was a payment processing company that moved to paying everyone the same wage? Do you remember that? Everybody got paid $70,000.
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah.
So I wish I would have looked up the company. Well, everybody touted it as, oh, this is so great. This guy is awesome. Well, it turns out like a year later, if you looked into them after that, all their top talent left. And they were just left with the people that got a pay raise, the people that weren't worth $70,000. Everyone that was worth more than that left. And, that's, he kind of like jumped into the political cycle, and he was part of the the story, and his business suffered from it. He A, lost customers, and then B, lost his top talent. And
is this business still around?
I don't know. I'd have to research it, but it's just bad idea. It's just, why put yourself out there like that? You're just
and whatever it is, like the inherent value of somebody and their contribution is what salaries are usually deemed at for the most part, right? There's going to be some variance in that. And if you think that the one person that is at the entry level position, whether they're full time or not, should be paid as one of the highest people, isn't that socialism?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah, doesn't work. It looks good on paper though.
It kills motivation,
right? But it looks good on paper. Like, oh yeah, everybody will be happy. Yeah. And there was other companies too. I remember around 2014, 2015, the big thing was transparency, where everybody was like opening, and there's like open book management, which is transparent to a point, right? Yeah, and that point is they're not showing everybody's salaries, right? So I know some companies experimented with that, and that I know there was a lot of backlash, like immediately, because there's some people like, Ron's a moron. What the hell is Ron doing making $6,000 more a year than I am? Right.
There's no good comes out of that.
No, and we're animals, and like we have emotions, and people right or wrong, are going to make things mean things they shouldn't. So you're literally now creating an HR dream, because now they're going to show all the value in the world that they're necessary, so they can talk about all these things and potentially on the couch. And you're going to get in the way of whatever it is your mission, because your mission isn't to piss off all your employees, which is important. You have to, create a culture where everybody's treated in a specific way, but you can go too far. And I think we've been seeing 100%. A lot of this lately.
So this also reminds me of, the big popular documentary that came out this summer was the Michael Jordan documentary.
Last Dance, yeah.
Yeah, which you correctly describe as, just legacy protection, which it is. But he has that one quote in there where I guess this happens every election cycle, because he was talking, everybody was trying to get him to take a stance on something. I don't even remember what the issue was. But his response was, Republicans buy shoes too.
That was in the 80s.
Yeah, I don't remember what the issue of the day was, but I was like, yeah, Republicans expensify. Hey, conservatives have expenses too. What are what are you doing? Just cutting your market in half.
He doesn't. Yeah, just there's no need to alienate if you don't have to, and people are going to push you in that direction. Dave Chappelle has a great story on one of his last ones where he's talking about somebody he knew trying to get him to say a quote about R. Kelly. He's like, I've never met R. Kelly.
Yeah.
But that's the whole same thing. It's like, well, you need to take a stance on this. Right. And it's like, I don't agree with the things that he did, but I don't know the guy. But there's just this, and I don't know if it's all those VH1 shows where they get all these B and C actors and almost funny comedians that they get to comment on what's going on that creates that in our culture. But yeah, there's this expectation that okay, hey, just because this thing is going on and you have influence and a following, you need to have an opinion on it that's going to cut into whatever it is that's paying your bills.
Yeah, another great comment. We want to put people in check boxes, and if you don't have that box checked, you're wrong. I mean, that's cancel culture right there. I mean, so this guy, the media is not going to cancel Expensify, but conservatives will. And it reminds me of when Gillette did their commercial, and they hired some director that's known for their social justice warring, or I don't know. And this ad has nothing to do with selling razors or anything. It's just about trying to preach to men that quit being bad men. And I've got the article right here. They lost $8 billion the next quarter that people attribute to that advertisement of alienating men. That's your primary customer. It was crazy.
They went too far. I think they were trying to be like Nike. I think Nike did a pretty good job in leveraging as much as they could with the Kaepernick situation and some of these others. They've done a really good job of oh yeah, hey, let's go ahead and take this cultural thing and then make it about us. I
hate that.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it either. But it's kind of like politics in music. Some people love it. I've never really been a fan, or religion in music. It's just, hey, it's cool. You like gospel, that's great. It's not my thing. So, but and I think at the same time, this is where the example you gave. They just went too far, right? Hey, look, hey, this is our case study. This worked. Here's their growth rate. Let's go ahead and put our stance out there. And it's something that's it's really delicate.
If it's not, I love how you put it earlier. If it's not on mission, don't touch it.
Yeah, that's not what we do.
Unless your company is positioned to just sell to liberals or conservatives, don't take don't even get involved in it. That's if I don't know if Expensify is a publicly traded company or not, but if it was and you were a shareholder, wouldn't you just be furious that?
That's what I'm saying. It's just selfish. Even if I was an employee working there, whether you said, hey, I want you to all vote for Trump, right? Or all vote for Joe Jorgensen, right? I mean, that'd be pretty rare. But if pushing that, I would be pissed either way, because it's just look, that's just how you feel about something. Correct. And politics are very, very close to emotion. And I don't think it's right that you're going to tell, and I don't think it works, because it's only going to piss people off.
So the thing about this story that's even crazier is that it didn't just go to like the account owners. The email went to everyone that uses the software. And if you're a business and you're tracking expenses, you're basically every employee of your organization.
I don't use it. I signed up for a free account as a trial, I don't know, years ago, like whenever it first started, and I got that email. So
even worse.
Exactly. So 43,000 supposed customers that they have that email, but who knows how many people trialed that? It could be in the hundreds of thousands, could be close to 1 million.
43,000 account or companies, and then each one of those companies has how many people in?
Oh, is that distribution?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it goes to like if you've got a sales force of 50 people that are traveling that use this system, that's 50 people in your organization that got that email as well. And 43,000. Yeah, insane. It's really insane. So I believe that they're going to really regret that.
I don't know. Maybe there's a board. Yeah, I mean, if it's a private company, the odds of him getting ousted of it, unless there's investors and he's a minority shareholder, I think are pretty slim.
So another awesome comment by Jennifer here. So this actually hits home because this happened to my wife's business. She owns a floral company, and remember when everybody was putting black squares on their profile pictures? It was called like I
think Ashton Kutcher still has one up.
Something told me Tuesday. What did they do? I forget what it was called, but she didn't do anything, and I don't even. She wasn't taking a stance. She wasn't making a statement. I think they just didn't do anything with social media that day, and they forgot. They didn't know what was going on, and then somebody actually tried to shame them on Instagram for not taking a stance against. I mean, it had something to do with Black Lives Matter. I forget what the specific day was, but they tried to shame her.
Blackout Tuesday.
Blackout Tuesday. There you go. Yeah. I thought it was something like that. So it's crazy that she got attacked for that on social media for not doing anything. Doing anything. That's crazy.
Right. And it's everybody is being emotionally driven, and social media is driving that. There's going to come a point. Something is going to change. I believe just something will happen that's going to curb this. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's necessarily a regulation, but I think there will be more of a positive movement. Maybe there is some type of positive shaming that'll happen, because just to be
positive shaming.
I know, but I'm optimistic that there will be something in the future that is going to curb this, because it's just getting out of hand. No matter who you are, people are going to attack you based on it's like we're in like the playground. Like everybody's getting bullied online. That's what that is. She was getting bullied.
Yep. So early in this, I guess it was all this blackout. I don't know when I did it though, but I did write a memo to our company that said we don't get political. I was like, you are more than empowered to take a personal stance on your own stuff. But I was like, do not, because I don't run our social media page for Oyova, and I don't jobs in sports and all that stuff. So I had to make sure that we don't take political stances as a business and organization, and remind everybody that don't get into this. We don't take stances. I was like, do whatever you want on your personal, but for our company messages and all that, make sure you don't fall for that.
And it's crazy that has to be said, because to me it's just such a logical thing. Like, just don't piss people off. Like, I mean, that's all that's going to do.
Right. Exactly. I mean, business is we're in business as a group. We're all here working together. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different views and religions and all that stuff, and we all have to come together and work. And when you bring it, and when you make everything about an identity, then that's what all that's all you're worrying about. Like, no, we're here to do websites. Can I leave that other stuff outside? I don't
check it out the door. Like, we got a mission. Like, this doesn't align with that mission. And a company is a collection of people, right?
Yeah.
So we want to get these people together. And you don't want homogenization. You don't want everybody the same color. You don't want everybody the same religion. You don't want everybody having the same exact, value set, but you do want everybody to agree on the mission of the company and the values of the company. So don't inflame any of the other stuff.
So speaking of this, I just read an article this week about Amazon. how they hired a company, and what they found and what they push is that, and what the article was about is that Amazon, with this study with this other group, that the more diverse your workplace is, the least likely they will organize into a union, and that's why they push to, so they're very active on pushing diversity so that they don't try to unionize.
So that's the new union buster, diversity.
Yeah, because if you have so much diversity, then there's not enough group identity to form a union, because there'll always be division within the subgroups, the cliques,
right?
And that they won't unionize. And I was like, wow, that's makes sense. I understand it, but just crazy that companies are getting to that level. That's insane. But again, it's another politics in the workplace, and it's weird. It feels It feels slimy when I hear about it.
Yeah, and unions today I find are interesting, and that's a whole nother political conversation that we'll go ahead and shelve. But when it comes to the diversity and differences, there was here's another topic. There was a jewelry ad, and this, I guess, is the difference, right? So we have we have our country where we can talk about anything, and then we have others where it's pretty much the difference, right? So a jewelry ad featuring like an interfaith couple in India, created complete cancel culture outrage there, which is the opposite of here. So there was somebody that was Hindu and somebody that was Muslim that they were shown in a commercial. Wow. And complete outrage over there. They had to take down the ad. People are banning this jewelry store. So it's there's this, I think, this worldview that people have that everything is the same. And I want to find out if these, is potentially an ad agency that was maybe had American roots and whatnot with that inclusion, or maybe something that's a little bit more West.
Right.
But not everybody thinks the same way, and that's okay, right? That's not what they want to see, whether it's right or wrong, I don't think. But I mean, as marketers, as business owners and companies, you have to think, what is the reaction that we're going to get from this? And if you take that stance, that creates, like I said, alienation, which is outside of anything you want to do.
So let's talk through this a little bit more. Now, this company, this jewelry company that just has this out, do you think they can sue the marketing company?
No, I don't. They could. You can sue anybody anytime it costs you money, but would it hold value? I don't know Indian law.
I guess they probably approved it. I mean, obviously,
right? Exactly.
So
they gave this approval. So I don't think they have any case.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And who knows? I mean, it was hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatnot. But the point I'm trying to make there is, just because something is happening here and all this inclusion, there are still other forces at play, especially in other countries, that are going to be divisive, and that's something that, if you're watching out for a brand, that you got to really look out for.
Yeah.
And some other here's some sad news that's going on, right? I'd like to get your opinion on this. So almost half of marketers that were surveyed expect job losses, job cuts in the next 3 months. So 43.8% of respondents in this survey, it was by Marketing Week, anticipate a decline in staffing levels over the next 3 months.
I don't believe that. Well, I mean, I believe it. I believe that there's, God, I almost wonder is that politics driven? Because I feel like I'm on the other end. I expect a lot of job growth. I feel like once we open up, we're going to go back to the great economy that was roaring. I mean,
potentially, but will it be marketers?
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. I think that's a complete different talk. I don't think that's an economics talk. I think that's a marketing automation talk. I think marketers moving to all these marketing automation platforms are cannibalizing themselves. You don't need.
I think there's some of that, but I just think there's so much just shoddy work that's done.
Oh, that too. Yeah. I mean,
it's just
the marketing playbook.
We don't need this right now.
Yeah, that tired old marketing playbook we talk about all the time. If you're doing that kind of work, yeah, you're getting cut.
Yep, and I think that's what it is. This was a space that everybody glommed onto, and then now it's going to be there's going to be an exit.
Yeah.
And with that, there's I think it was the consumer expectations are also expected to take a dive in Q4. A lot of people are saying it's going to be 30 to 35% lower than the year before.
For what?
So with that, so it's essentially the consumer index, right? So people are thinking Q4 is going to, essentially we're not going to sell as much Christmas-related things, right? So Q4 is not going to be what it was the year prior. On account of COVID restrictions, people lost losing jobs. So I think those potentially play into some of those factors as well.
Well, what was the report? There's 8 million people have gone into the poverty, I think.
Is it 8 million?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just said you muted me for some reason.
No, I muted. There was another screen that was creating feedback.
Oh, okay. Don't mute me. 8 million people fell into poverty this year because of COVID and the closures. But I mean, it sucks. It's terrible. And I'm thankful we live in Florida. Thankful that we didn't really shut down, and our economy feels still strong here. I mean, the real estate prices continue to go up here. Plus, you've got all those people from New York moving down here at even a more rapid pace. So,
I also, and granted, we do business with companies all over the country, but I wonder, it's just when it comes to surveys and attitudes and things like this, it's been a tough year. Right. So I think a lot of that is going to create a little bit more pessimism than usual. I think things are going to turn out okay. I'm starting to see things turn on. A lot of project planning that's happening for Q1 for work and whatnot. And I think if there is somebody that is thinking that they're going to lose their job, then they got to step it up. I mean, so what did Jennifer say? There's a lack of enough skilled digital marketers. Absolutely. Yeah. There are people that just think that they have a computer, they go on to social media, they read a couple blog posts that they're going to be the best. That is not experience. Experience is earned, by working around others, actually doing the work and having failures. Failures small enough that you can recover from. And I think there's not enough of that action happening.
To me, I think I want to see data-driven decisions from, the amateur just slaps stuff out there. And some of it works and some of it doesn't. And the successes are mostly due to dumb luck than, skilled. And I just want to see more data-driven marketing decisions, using data, using trends, using things like that. And that's what I look for, and I see talented. And that's why when you see like a viral marketing campaign you go, wow, that wasn't just. Sometimes it's dumb luck, I guess. Sometimes it's
I'd say most of the time it's dumb luck.
Really?
Yeah. But if you execute when something truly goes viral, like there's just the stars have to align. So many things have to happen, but you can still have a great campaign without, in not having it hit, virality. Like the Dollar Shave commercial. Yeah. So many people have tried to replicate that. And yeah, I mean, they've failed, right? Because that is its own thing. And it wasn't trying for virality. It was just trying to create a really good spot. And it did.
Yeah.
And one thing on the political side, a lot of people, Airbnb, they got one of their first campaigns when they started marketing themselves was, I think, in 2010. And it was when, who is that? Was that McCain and Obama?
Yeah.
And they did like these cereal boxes that involved like each candidate. So they sold those. That's essentially how they got their name out. Right.
Right.
The number. All right. What is this? It's like an interruption. Let me see.
So data-driven and experience marketing is what sets talent apart. Never trust a marketing person that can't navigate analytics.
I like that. All right. Yeah. Oh.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. So have you heard of this company called Nerdy Nuts?
No.
All right. So Nerdy Nuts, they just had like $500,000. The Hustle just wrote a good piece on them over the weekend. So they had $500,000 in, I think, monthly recurring sales, right? They also took off using this political method. I think like a year ago, they took the candidates and made like a peanut butter flavor for each one. Right, got a little bit of PR on Fox News. The guy supposedly emailed like 200 different candidates, or I'm sorry, 200 different reporters. One of them picked it up. He got on Fox News, a little bit of credit, and then. But the thing that did make it take off is until he got onto TikTok. Another, plug for TikTok. And that's where he's absolutely exploded. And I think the guy's like an SEO or something, but it's dramatically changed his life. Anyway, the whole point of that whole story is taking a political stance that is neutral across the board, just taking the candidates, and leaning into that and having that build the company into what it is. That's the only approach I would have in the political side of marketing.
I'll give you the opposite story of that. There's a bakery in outside of Pittsburgh or in Pittsburgh that I guess for the last 20 something years has been doing election cookies, right, for the candidates. And you can come in and buy one, and then they tally and they keep track of it. So it's kind of like a cookie poll.
Yeah.
And so they share this picture like 2 weeks ago of the results so far. And it was like 6,000 Trump cookies versus 1,600 Biden cookies. Mm-hmm. And all they did is share. They didn't take a stance. They just said, hey, this is our cookie poll. And they got attacked. They got cancel cultured. And they had to issue a statement that just said, guys, we've been doing this for every election. And it's you guys who are buying the cookies and telling us what cookies you want to buy. We're not making a stance. Don't, but they got crushed because so many people thought that they were taking a stance or support for a president when it's just people came in and bought the Trump cookies more.
One could take away from that, though, that Trump supporters are more unhealthy and more inclined to eat something with sugar than Biden.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of cookies were they?
I don't know. They're just the typical like sugar cookie with a bunch of frosting on. I mean, they actually drew pictures of the candidates in frosting. I mean, it looks cool. I'm not a frosting guy, so I hate those kind of cookies.
What's your cookie?
If I had to go, I think like a oatmeal raisin.
Yeah,
is my kind.
Chocolate chip, man. Just a
That's boring.
Nah.
Like, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Samoa's, hands down.
Number one, easily.
That's one of the newer cookies too, not one of the originals. I was corrected by a Girl Scout when I was buying these cookies.
Like the peanut butter ones are delicious, and my wife likes the Thin Mints. But man, those Samoans are. I love coconut. It's delicious.
Yeah, absolutely, Almond Joy, one of the best candy bars.
Yep.
Speaking about cancel culture, another thing in marketing news, the Richards Group, which is a fantastic agency, they've done some amazing work. Stan Richards, who's in his 80s, is now no longer running the Richards Group. He essentially, in a meeting for Motel 6, when they showed the ad, his defense to this was it wasn't inclusive enough, but his team that reported to the media outlet said it was too black. This is what Stan Richards said, and it would offend their white supremacist constituents.
What?
That's supposedly what he said. And then he did an apology, went on Zoom. What I find interesting is how some things, I'm not defending this guy, right? But you say something in a meeting and it can potentially, when that's pulled out of that room, can be taken out of context. I don't know if that was a flippant joke or whatnot. And I don't know the guy personally. I've met and know people that have worked there. And they, like I said, they do a great job. But yeah, so that happens in a meeting, gets sent out to the media, that happens, there's a big blow up. And now they've lost not only that Motel 6, they lost Home Depot, which they had for 25 years. Wow. They lost Dr. Pepper, which they've had for a number of years as well. And there's some others that are potentially questioning just from what happened in a media. And then, now granted, he's 87 years old. So the probability, not saying he's a racist, of him being racist, being a white guy, 87, I mean, it's not in his favor. But right. there's a chance that he's not. So point of that is just like, man, what happens in a meeting at a company and it gets thrown out? It's you got to watch out. You got to watch out everything that you're saying. And if you truly are a racist, I believe you should lose those accounts. But this is crazy, the time that we're living in.
So I had a debate. I think it was the last election cycle or 2 election cycles ago. I was a big Ron Paul guy. And I was having a
How'd that
debate.
work out?
What's that?
How'd that work out?
Good. But so I was having a debate with a guy, and I think it was we're talking about that story about the baker that didn't want to work with the gay couple or something like that going on. I think it was in Colorado.
Okay.
And he was supporting. He was like, they should have to bake that cake. And I'm like, why do you want to spend money with somebody that hates you? Like, I would rather have people advertise their isms so I know not to spend money with them. Like, why would you want to be allowed to go into some racist's barbecue joint and feed him profits so that on the weekend he can go support your, anti-race, stuff? I mean, why would you want that? That never made sense to me. I mean, I want to know what I'm spending my money with so I can choose to support them or not. I don't want to support so if the owner of the Richards Group really is racist, then I want to know that.
So yeah, I agree with knowing that, but what happens in meetings inside a company, that being released, I mean, this is a privately held company. And that was released. That's what I think is the most remarkable thing, right? Because there are certain things that take place in meetings where you're looking at it contextually. Because his defense to that was, I didn't think the ad was inclusive enough, right? So meaning he didn't think that the ad, now granted, the white supremacist thing, that's just like over the top. So if the guy said that, like that
sounds like a joke.
That's what I'm saying. Like do they have data that says that the Klan hangs out at Motel 6s? Like, right. I don't know. And I don't have any data on that. I don't even, but what I'm saying is, like, to me, that sounds like a flippant joke. And the other one saying like, okay, you have, all right. And I believe there were Latinos in there, there were Caucasians, and then there were blacks in this ad. And he says like, oh, it's too black. And I don't know what the distribution of it was. But somebody obviously got so offended in that they're going to then leak that out. The same thing happened years ago. I can't remember the agency it was Subway. And they were eating like hoagies and losing weight. Right. And somebody had that video that then leaked that over to Subway. And they lost the account.
Oh, God.
I know. And I think those are cultural issues. And it might be. But who knows? Maybe the guy is a racist. I don't know.
That reminds me. So developers like to embed jokes. What do we got? A great comment here?
No. To Kel's memory, they did not release the numbers.
So developers like to put little jokes in their testing and their test data. And I remember one day a developer put something really inappropriate on the dev side. I'm like, look, our clients actually use this to test things. I was like, please don't put this stuff in the test data. I think you shouldn't be saying this stuff anyways. Don't do this. Customers might see this one day. You never know, and you're gonna cause an issue. And I just don't understand. It's just not professional. Like, so that's the same thing. Ideas like, if that's your client, like your client. If you're going to sit there and
never bash, right?
And if I want to know if my marketing agency is talking shit on my brand, because I can take my dollar.
I agree, never to bash. But I think if there's like one instance or something, I don't think something should be leaked out of a company meeting. I think it should be handled. The opportunity should be handled within that company, because I mean that somebody is just, they say a couple things, then it's sent over and it's taken out of context. I think context is a very important thing. And it's so easy now to do that. There needs to be some form of honor based on like, all right, we're having a conversation here. Stan, I don't agree with you. I don't think that that's the case. Like, stand up, not like, oh, boom, shoot that over to somebody. And then that's kind of weaselly. Like, if you don't like the guy, all right, if you want to get crazy, spit in his face, do whatever you have to do, but take your stance there. Well, you don't have to do this little angling type of thing or send that commercial. I think it's more important to be the force that you want to see.
That's why our culture at Oyova is be direct. I mean, that's exactly what we preach, is just be direct right then in the moment. Don't wait a week, or don't let it foment so you get upset and then it leaks out. I mean, we see it with and it's not just that moment. It's look at the story all over Biden right now of where this old ex business partner is now coming out and saying stuff about him. I mean, that's 20. I mean, isn't that like years and years ago? I mean, you're going to have people, whatever you do business, can always come back at you. So just don't say anything messed up and don't do anything wrong. And then, so you don't have to worry about it. You know, like
I mean, work it out right there. Like that's the other thing too. Like just all right, check in, make sure we're cool, and I think that's an important part of a culture, and especially in business relationships. I mean, I don't know the details of that story, but
like even the internals or like internal emails that are like kind of borderline inappropriate jokes. I'm always
dude.
like, oh, what are you doing? Why are you putting that on record?
There was we had somebody that worked, and we'll just say in the design realm. If I say what their title is, I think it would be too clear. And there was an email. I wasn't on it between them and another teammate where they were emailing back and forth something about the client, right? Well, somebody accidentally goes into one of the emails and then CCs the client based on. Oh, dude, it was brutal.
So it's like in the history or like.
Oh, yeah, you could literally see down and they read through it. And then I get a phone call and the excuse was just like, no. I mean, I know we talked about firing. That was one of those instances. And it was just like, what do you want me to do? Like, I mean, you're number one, you're doing something that's not cool, talking trash behind somebody's back. Right. And then the other point to that is you're dumb enough to do that in a way they're going to get brought into that conversation. So, I mean, hey, it's only 2 strikes, and you're out of here.
I wouldn't even say that. That would be instant firing. Instant.
That's what it was. Yeah, it was fire. But those were the 2 strikes, like, in the same event. If you're dumb enough to make it happen, right, and, you're actually going to talk trash about one of our clients, like, yeah, no, I don't agree with any of that.
I just think it's also foments bad, just, it spreads. Like, that attitude spreads, and then all of a sudden, what about if this client comes back and is like, hey, we want to double our ad spend on all these other channels, and your team's like, I don't like working with them because they're all these. Right. So it's a bad precedence, and I think it's creates a bad culture. And I've called people out. I'm like, quit talking shit on this client. I know they're difficult to work with, but handle it in a different way because you're going to have nobody. I was like, we either fire the client because you don't want to work with them anymore, or you quit talking shit on them. Like, pick one.
Yeah, because it's contagious. So once one person does, oh, this is cool, we get to bash them, and in those instances, the conversation is, all right, can you inspire a different outcome? And a lot of people, can't do that. So I think the best thing to do there is just, all right, prevent it on all accounts.
Right.
All right. I know we're coming up on time. Is there anything
can we touch on that's
like right on the line, right on the fence?
Yeah, right on the line.
Somebody could take a lot of the things we said in this and take them out of context. So
I think we've stayed pretty neutral throughout the whole discussion. It's just talking about the thought of things, not taking actual stands.
That's like the thing when you get pulled over by the police. It's like, I'm not going to call you whatever I want to call you, but I want you to know that I'm thinking it. It's like, yeah, well, let's see where that gets you. But all right, no, I think it's been a great week. We're off to we're almost out of October. We got Halloween coming up. Yeah, you got let's sum it up with what is little baby Emma going to be for Halloween?
I think we got her a pumpkin outfit. She's going to be a little pumpkin. Erica is going to be a witch, and I got this really creepy raven costume. It's like, so we're all kind of going with that theme. So, how about yourself?
I don't know yet. I have not decided.
The Pale Rider.
The Pale Rider. No, not going to be the Pale Rider. I am a fan of Clint Eastwood's movies. What's that?
What'd you go as last year?
I don't even remember. I don't know. I used to love Halloween, and then just going out and then having a great time on Halloween just seems like it's one of those amateur nights. Yeah, going out on holidays, and I didn't go trick or treating. So what, going out on like Halloween, like going out to like bar hopping, that kind of thing.
Well, when I was single, I used to do that, and that was a blast. I mean, if you go to a bar that actually like double downs on Halloween, it's fun. I mean, like the place we go to, like that's a big deal. Now I just love dressing up to give out candy.
Yeah. That's fun. Really? You dressed up to give out candy?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, no, that's not me. Yeah,
I used to decorate my whole porch and create like a whole scene and jump out at people, and that was a blast. Love making kids cry.
Wow. Yeah. No, it's just not my thing. Yeah. And I love Halloween, what it stands for. I think it's all good. But yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do this year.
So I did mention, I teased at the beginning of this, and now that we're at the end, it's kind of late. But I had a meeting yesterday with a guy from Vistage, and I know I talked to you about it, and I couldn't help but as he went on and talked about all the pros and cons, I'm like, I'm already getting that from DMG. He's like mentorship. I get that from DMG. Peer group, challenges and assistance. And I'm like, we already get that. And then he was charging $1,300 a month and requiring 1 day a month, complete full day. And I'm like, wow, that is quite the commitment. Where DMG is just, one in-person meeting a year, and then what is it, bi-weekly call? Is that what we're doing now?
Yeah, it's a bi-weekly call. Yeah, you don't have to be on the call.
You don't even have to be on. So I was like, God, I told him, I was like, well, this sounds very similar to the other group that I'm already in, and it's a little bit redundant, and not interested, but just trying to plug DMG there.
I love it. I love the plug. I've spoke with Vistage before in the past, and I spoke with multiple different people that have groups, because one of the people I spoke to, I was like, I don't want to be in a group with that person. Like it seemed like it was like a high school football coach yelling, and I was like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, oh, we got to talk to somebody else. The other person I liked a lot. They were really cool. But then they're like, here was like $1,700. And and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that.
It just felt too much BNI, and I'm very anti BNI.
Yeah, but I've heard great things, so I do want to give him that. Like I know some people that have absolutely loved it.
I told him if he can find if he can cobble together more technology people, then I'd be interested, because I do want to impact locally. The one thing that DMG doesn't do is it doesn't. I don't get to impact locally as much as I want to. So I do want a local networking group that I can join.
Start it.
I could.
Yeah.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. We got Richard doing one here. I've started one in the past. I think he calls his the Strategic Alliance Group. So you can come up with something more creative than that, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
right. That's the takeaway today. I think we've had a good show. I have nothing else to say. Anything else to say?
I'm good.
All right. You're gonna be a vampire this Halloween. Was it again? What was it?
Raven.
So everybody, if you get a chance, go to Dave's house. He'll have coconut candy dressed as a raven. But if you bring the kids, warn them that they might get scared. But everybody, thank you so much for joining in. Appreciate it. Send me an email, Jon@digitalmastermind.com. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Thanks again. Bye now.